On today's episode of WatchJRGo, we are back in the shop with Lloyd Stearman's 1960 Mercedes W111 220S. What is going on, guys? I am WatchJRGo, and like I said, we're back in the shop with the Mercedes, and in these two boxes right here are the gold. You know, these are probably pretty hard to get a hold of these days. Freshly rebuilt Solex Type 32 carburetors that this thing runs on. Two of them. So we've got them all rebuilt, cleaned up, and today we're gonna put them back on the car and hopefully have it running by the end of the day. Now, we're not sure how running it's gonna be because we haven't taken the fuel pump apart or looked at that, and we may have to leave that fuel pump unhooked. But we're gonna clean the line set out, and we're gonna find out what we're dealing with because it does just unscrew. It's a rebuildable pump. And we're here with my dad who wants to take this pump apart.
Yeah.
We got our brand new battery though. Hey, you didn't hear the horns.
I don't need to.
They're insane.
I bet they are.
They're the craziest horns you ever heard.
Yeah. It's kind of sound like a train.
Yeah, it's pretty close to a train horn for being electric.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, look how they're giant.
They're giant.
Yeah. They look like they're off a train.
You can hear them outside of the shop easy. Easy.
Yeah, that's to get the cows out of the way over in Germany.
That's right.
Get off the highway.
Well, we have fuel from the tank up to the filter housing, and I have everything for the filter housing, new element and seals, but the thing we don't know about is that pump, of course.
Well, we could
split it.
Yeah, I'd say we take the pump and split it. If you want to take that apart, I'll set the carburetors on. So what we want to do here, this should have a screen in it.
Yep.
For a filter.
Oh yeah, I forgot I had that hat.
Yeah, so we'll take that off,
Yep.
pull these two lines.
Absolutely.
And then you should be able to take these screws out, and then you'll have to lift it off the little fulcrum arm. Now some of these will come out without removing the fulcrum pin. There's the fulcrum pin right there.
Yeah.
I see it's got a circlip on it. Sometimes you got to slip that circlip out. So if this won't come off without pulling that, then you're going to have to take it complete. It'd be a whole lot easier just to take these two screws out right here.
Pop it off the engine.
Pop it off the engine, get it up here where we can get our hands on it.
Let's do that.
And then if that needs new diaphragm material, I've got it at the shop. We can most likely I can make a new diaphragm for it. Depends on how it's put together in the center. Some of them you have to grind apart. Because they're riveted for one-time use. Some kind of pin for the diaphragm too. It is, yeah. It's a little pin with a little slot on the bottom that pulls the diaphragm up and down.
Gotcha.
And I've had to take and surgically remove those and then save them and then put them back together and hammer. I've even machined out new ones and made my own piece to replace them, because sometimes when they're made, they're so short. When they stamp them, they were never made. They were made to be thrown in the trash. Right. So
they sell you a new diaphragm.
Yeah, and it comes riveted together, right? Mm-hmm. So one I had to do not too long ago, I couldn't buy the diaphragm, so I just machined a brand new pin, took all the measurements of the old one, made a brand new one, and I put a nut on the top of mine. So if I ever had to replace it again,
just unscrew it,
or if somebody else has to replace it, all they got to do is take it apart, and then that makes it a serviceable diaphragm. Sure. In the machine. Where's your crescent wrench at? You have your little one? No. I need a little one for a second. I've got a 6-inch over there. It's always with me. All right. So the carbs are right behind me, but I just want to pop this filter hat off and see what we're dealing with here. I'll work on the carburetors. Oh wow, this was completely loose. It's just like the carburetors. Yeah. I just touched that bolt. Same person's been working on it. It came right off. Absolutely. They didn't tighten anything up on here. You'll have to start an IV at WD-40 and administer acetylene and transport as soon as possible. That's right. Well, that's what Rampart always says. It's dirty, but not terrible. We've seen worse. Squad 51, Squad 51. Here's your filter. It actually looks incredible. Yeah. Why is it perfect? Oh. Even the seal looks good. Yeah, it's got a great cork filter, or a great cork seal. Somebody's probably handmade that one anyway. It does look like it's a little imprecise. But that'd be easy to make. Just set it on a piece of cork. We can get it at O'Reilly's, and I've got some at the house, but it's faster to go downtown. Yes, it is. Okay, so that could be made. Okay. And then I'll put it over here on my work battery. Just pull the two hoses. Yep. And then after you get the two hoses off, take your Allen wrench and pull them.
2 bolts.
Pull in bolts.
Here's the update. The carburetors are sitting on their bases, and we're getting very close to final assembly on those. I need to blow out this supply line here, and we've got the fuel pump back on, and it's tested and working, so that's good.
Didn't have to rebuild it.
Didn't have to rebuild it, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And we also have, right over here, our new filter element for the fuel filter. That one's toast. The old, what was this one? Connect, made in Austria. And here we have a Molly, brand new, with both of the seals that you need to put that thing back together. So that's our fuel filter setup. I just put it in upside down, didn't I? That's the right direction.
Well, I'm stuck here until I make some parts, I believe.
Yep.
This, when we took the carburetor apart, this ring was missing off of one, and basically it fits right in here as a bushing.
Yep.
And then these two washers
Sandwich it.
sandwich that so that that'll still move like that. And then this goes on here, and it has a locking tab that you lock it in place. When we took it apart, one of these nuts was missing.
Yep.
Which we can go
Grab a nut.
it goes right here.
Yeah.
And then this was off the other side, the other carburetor, and you can see when that ring was missing, they had a hard time with it, because they actually, when they tightened it down, it sucked this down inside. And what that does is that lets, if this ring's not here, there's so much force on this that this can move back and forth.
Ah, yeah.
And it bent that up. So we can take this out to the lathe, put them over there. We can take it to the lathe and machine that and make one pretty quick. So
Just out of a washer?
yeah, we start with a washer if we can find one with the right diameter in it.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be in the right thickness, then it'd be easiest just to machine the outside down. So we can run out to shop, lathe one of them out, because I doubt if we could buy the parts, I'm sure that's a Solex part.
Yeah, I'm sure too.
So,
But it's getting hard to find those.
yeah, it'd be easier to, we can make it a lot faster than we can go hunt one down and buy it.
Put it in the gauge. Probably metric, right?
It's definitely metric, because it's from Germany.
8x1 fine.
Yeah.
That's it.
We can get one of them right quick.
I think I actually have 8x1 fine here.
That'd be even better.
Ooh, we got a lot of 8x1 too, but we don't have 8x1 fine, unfortunately. I'm actually not even sure how we don't have 8x1, but somewhere in here in the metric zone, a lot of this is metric. I'm sure we do actually have that. We are over here at the shop because Dad wanted to use this lathe. Why not what's wrong with big lathe?
Oh, this is higher precision. This lathe has very little wear on it.
I see.
This lathe was used to make rosewood pencils at the Benny and Smith Crayola factory.
Ah.
And my dad bought originally it had you can see it's got different colors.
Yep.
And that was my dad's whole original lathe. It's a 1935 model, South Bend, and I bought it at Dad's auction. And but this one was in a bunch of pieces. It was a disaster. So the reason it was is because you can see everything's different colors.
Yeah.
Because this thing was automated.
Oh, okay.
It had all kinds of the whole thing was automated like in the 70s to make rosewood pencils. So it was hydraulic cylinders and had a giant control cabinet that looked like a big giant double door refrigerator to run each one of these lathes.
Huh.
And so this has been pieced back together out of Dad bought them all.
Yeah.
And then we had to start buying parts. So he bought that on eBay, and he just went around collecting parts. We have to make this part for your carburetor.
Yep.
Okay, so I got us a nice new drill bit that fits that really nice. So that's ready. So let's put in a chuck.
10.
Yeah, it's maybe 3/16. Okay, so I'm just putting just a little bit in there. I want to go far enough that my parting tool, blade, will, I'll go about 1/4 of an inch. Okay. All right. That's plenty. For now, we got a perfect goal there. You know, that's a nice new bit. Does a nice job.
Yep.
That's more than I need, but I want to have a square. I want to have a square area for putting my parting tool in.
Right.
Just make a pass as we come out.
So we've got the ID and the OD down right now. We're just measuring them out on the calipers. It doesn't have to be that crazy precise. It's incredibly close though. It's like, it's within 1/100th of an inch at the moment. So what we don't have is a readout to know our position to our parting tool from the end of the part. So Dad just went ahead and made a cut, and then he's measuring to the cut and then running back and cutting farther out to the edge until we get to the end of the part. And it's the right, it's 0.91.
You got to be careful with your parting tool. This one's not the sharpest.
Yeah.
Actually, I can slow it down a little. Get rid of that wrench. Watch, keep an eye on that thing when I part it off.
Yeah, it's gonna go flying.
Better go a little more. I like that.
The speed control?
Hydraulic speed control.
It is nice.
There, I can make some bigger chips. And the nice thing about it is if I get it wrong, we got plenty of metal, we can do it again.
That's true. That was it. Oh.
Okay.
I guess we gotta take off a little excess there.
That's all right. This wasn't square to their leg. Okay, so it crawled out from a little bit from that cut right there.
Yeah.
See, I think we can just polish it right to the,
Yep.
you know, and it really don't make that much difference as long as it fits into the part.
Absolutely. I'm sure it'll press in, but if we just gave it a light sand.
Well, yeah, it just needs a little bit of a sanding.
Yep.
A little bit hard to sand now, but you can,
Yeah, it is.
that little piece that was sticking out the back, I hit it with the belt sander
That's all she needed.
and knocked it off. And once I got the belt sander off, this just went right through it because that's where I drilled the hole. Then I just barely touched the outside of this. Let's see if it fits. Hey, look at that.
Much better.
So this has got to rotate on there like that.
It's not press fit anymore.
Well,
It's gonna self-polish too.
Well, yeah, and so it's got a washer on each side, so it needed to be barely thicker
Yep.
than this, right? So that's it.
Cool. Well, here we are with the carburetors mounted back up, all the linkages back on, all the lines snugged up.
This one's got a little snap action there.
Snap it back. Oh, I see, yeah. Oh, there's so many throttle return springs. There's even one on the pedal over there. There is a lot going on with these things. So, we have a temporary fuel line that we just hooked up. We pulled off the factory one that zigzags over to the fuel filter here. Fuel filter is back on as well, if it would focus there. And now, I think we're ready to start this thing up on our external fuel supply here. We don't want to pull out of the tank because the tank, even though we know we have flow up to the front, is still unknown condition.
Ready.
So the right thing to do is suck all the fuel out of the tank and keep going from there at this point.
What are we doing now?
Well, go ahead and lift it up just a hair.
What?
Yeah, because my hose is too short to reach the gas tank. So if you just lift it up, I can get the gas tank in there.
You want me to lift the can?
No, just push the button on the car. Just bring it up 2 feet. It sounds like I hear some liquid moving.
Pump it over again.
Holding.
Not pumping now.
Oh,
Use the pump. Right there.
okay. All right, our temporary fuel system's right there. And hey, look at that. The fuel pump is pumping. So,
Okay.
the real thing is it gonna leak as we start filling up these flow bowls? I mean,
No, it won't leak. That should pump up and get tight over there.
Yeah.
Well, actually, what'll happen is you won't. The lever will get loose, and you won't feel any more
oh,
because the diaphragm won't come back once it gets
full.
once they fill up.
Gotcha. Well, honestly, you know we got enough to start by now.
Maybe.
I've been pumping for a long time.
Quite a bit of fuel got to go in there.
It is nice that it has a manual prime lever here on the pump.
Always good for the times when your Mercedes is stuck on the side of the road.
That's right.
Can you imagine opening the hood on a new Mercedes and seeing this?
I'd return it because I hate carburetors so much. Man.
Hey, what happened to my engine?
Give me port injection any day. Well, it hasn't gotten hard or easy yet, but I think we've got plenty of fuel.
You turn on the enricher.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we don't have the cable to the enricher plugged in yet. That's the one thing. Oh, we should have some accelerator pump squirts. Uh-oh.
What?
There was a drip right there. I saw a drip. We've got accelerator pump all day.
See if it'll run.
It'll run. This is a Mercedes.
I got the throttle.
All right, here we go. Here's crank. You ready?
Yeah.
Oh. We might not have spark anymore because of that ignition system.
Let me check spark.
Hold on. You see all the wires are disconnected again? Unless we're on the wrong mag.
Yeah, okay, I got the throttle. That's the enricher.
Yeah.
Man, that purrs.
It really does. This thing's a sewing machine. An absolute sewing machine.
It responds to the idle air mixture. I turn them in quite a ways. That purrs.
It sure runs nice.
That's only adjustment.
Yeah. I want to take a look at the gauges. See if we have a tach in here. Look at that. Hey, give me a little rev. Look at that, the tach works. The vacuum gauge works. We're down close to idle right there. Good vacuum as we come up. Charging system's charging. Look at that old school tach. Yeah, oh yeah. And then it's got a vacuum gauge, it's working.
Yeah.
And then amp meter shows it's charging. I mean, everything's working. I wish we could just draw on the fuel tank, we'd be totally fine.
Yeah, well, you gotta...
Cruise control.
You need to fix the clutch so it'll start, fix the brakes so it'll stop.
Yeah, let's check the clutch. Nope, clutch went to the floor, as always.
Back on.
We got a, I think, here, pop up, there we go. That got all of it. PCV on there, air filter on.
Down.
Oh, yeah, it clips on the leg. Interesting.
Okay, that's ready.
It could use a new one of those, that's for sure.
Yeah, it needs a little rubber.
Yeah, I mean, what do you expect?
Duct tape. This is a duct. Yeah, water pump needs to be rebuilt.
Just in case, we don't know, but
I'm rebuilding that water pump right now for that old Continental. No, it's a Kohler. Yeah, I bought a new water pump bearing and a new seal.
Yeah.
Putting it back in there.
Oh, so for that generator I gave you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it took a while to find all them parts, but I went ahead and bought some extras. So I got a couple of the Koyo bearings.
Well, let's now that we got that back together, let's check it one more time.
Started up.
I'm sure it'll be a one touch.
Nope.
Oh, sorry, keychain's in my way. Look at that oil pressure too. Whoo! Oil pressure gauge snapped right to life, all the way up at 45 PSI there. Too bad we don't have the radio. I will say the key itself is slightly problematic. Once you turn it off, you have to like really wiggle it before. Yeah. Like, it definitely works there, and then you have to wiggle, 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 and it'll pop on. So it usually takes me a little finagling. There it goes. That's how many wiggles it takes.
Watch how easy this thing starts.
I got a new light. I turned the ignition on. I got a light that says GL. I wonder what that is. Here you go.
Hard starting thing. Okay. No, I think you said there's a light that says GL?
Yeah.
That's good luck.
Good luck. As soon as it started up though, that light shut off. That's the first time we've seen the light. So generator light, possibility. Doors shut, great. Let's check all the doors here. This is a total walkthrough. Doors are all great.
I'd put 134A.
Yeah, and fill the...
Yeah, just put 134A in it. It may have R12 in it, but even if it's you know, just change the oil,
yep.
Right? And change it over to 134. Have a nice air conditioner.
Yeah, everybody's been talking about that air conditioner.
That thing will never go bad.
It's a cool old air conditioner.
It's out of York.
Now this is the last video I'll be making with the Stearman Mercedes because it is for sale now, and I very much hope one of you buys this and continues on with its legacy. This car does need a lot of work if you want to drive it, or it needs to go back in a museum. Early on when I got it, there were a lot of comments on those videos saying this should not be fixed. And after working on it for a while, I fully agree. This car probably should not be returned to the road unless you're very committed to taking it all the way back to basically being new. So it's a long project, but a very rewarding project at the same time. Can you imagine having this as a nice driver? I mean, it runs like a top. It's such a nice car. I can't say enough good things about it. It's an absolute sewing machine. I think our carb rebuild was very, very good. You should be totally set from the carb side. The fuel pump works great. So that's also very nice. The gas tank is unknown condition. I want to make sure that's clear. It's got gas in it. I put about 2, 3, 4, 5 gallons in. I poured in what I had left in one of my jerry cans there, our tough jugs. It's got fresh gas in the tank, and I was able to put a vacuum on the filter housing here and suck fuel through. So we do know the line's good. You can get that tank clean, and what my dad said, the easiest way to get all the varnish and everything out of that tank, and this is a great idea, is just putting an electric fuel pump on the end of this and then putting the hose right back into the tank and just letting it run. And just let it run forever. Let it just sit there, keep changing filters, right? You're gonna buy a bunch of these filters. They are cheap, and I do wanna remind you that I have a brand new filter and brand new O-rings on the filter housing there. So you're going to want to filter all of that fuel and just keep going. You're probably gonna run through 10 filters getting all of that clean, but eventually you would get the varnish out of the tank, and probably every once in a while you're gonna have to dispose of all that gas. You gotta do something, or you can change the tank. They do sell the tank, it's 500 bucks. You could put a tank on it. You can actually get a lot of parts for this. And speaking of parts, of course, we did the carb kits. It'd be nice to replace the fuel lines, but they're not leaking, so that's neither here nor there. It's just something that would be nice to do. Obviously, you get the AC working, like my dad said. Pretty bulletproof AC system on there. It has a brand new Superstart Premium battery in it. You can see it's dated 10/24 right there, so about as fresh as they come. Fuel filter, everything in there is brand new. And of course, I just rehung the entire exhaust with brand new donuts. So these they're supposed to be the Mercedes donuts. They don't say Mercedes on them like the originals did, but the exhaust is rehung, so that's very cool. Now I put a ton of fresh .3 through the braking and the clutch systems, enough that we probably went through a full gallon, maybe even more than a gallon, sucking fluid through the systems, and we did get fluid to everywhere it needed to go, right? We got fluid down to the clutch slave and to the wheel cylinders, but unfortunately, none of them have come back. They do sell the wheel slave cylinders. Those are relatively easy to get, so I think you'd have no problem getting the brakes back together. It's going to take a little bit of time, a little bit of money, but they're not too expensive, and it's just, you know, pulling the wheels, tearing everything down, change the cylinders, put it all back. And while you're in there, you might as well put fresh shoes on all the brakes. You know, you're going to want to do all the brakes. It's going to need tires no matter what. It did sit in one spot on these tires forever, and the tires were way worse than I thought. It's all still holding air. It looks very nice, but the tires are probably shot just from sitting in one spot. And honestly, when we picked it up, it was a little low, which means it had probably been low most of the time. So those flat spots are aggressive, and you're not going to want to drive on it. You can move it on it, but you're not going to want to take it out on the highway with those tires. I would also expect that you'll need a clutch master and a brake master cylinder. But once you change all that hydraulic stuff, you should have a running driving car. And that's about all it would take to really have this thing back out on the road. All the lights seem to be working. Everything works inside except for the radio. The radio doesn't want to turn on. But other than that, this thing is well sorted. I want to give you guys a couple of notes in case you're the lucky winner of this car that is really an incredible piece of history. Lloyd Stearman wanted it to have A and B magnetos, which actually doesn't make any sense, but it's kind of funny. This box here switches between these coils, although it doesn't really, because you'd still have to go move the actual wire to the distributor here. But this, if you flip it back, is that coil, and then if you flip it forward, it's this coil. So easy to remember. This says it's an electronic magneto, but the website still exists, or well, of reference to it, maybe on the Wayback Machine. I went and looked it up, but it's just an ignition coil. There's nothing special about this at all. It says it's a magneto. It is a standard electronic ignition coil. So ignore that it says magneto on it, but I do think that's why it ended up in this car, because airplanes had mags and this car has a mag. My temporary fuel hose is going to come off the fuel pump, and I'm going to put the original one back on, but I'm not going to clamp it down or anything like that. Expect to replace the little S hose right there, and I really would rather not even hook it back up. I might just cap them. I'll just cap them and include that hose in a Ziploc bag, because the reality is you do not want to be sucking this gas through here, and this pump is working, everything's working, and if I hook it up, somebody will turn the key and it will start. That's really all it comes down to. It will start up and start sucking fuel out through that fuel system, and it will be some very bad varnished fuel that will fill the carburetors, and we'll be in trouble. And none of us want that. Let's come over here to Capland, and it looks like it's that guy right there. There we go. That'll make sure it doesn't leak in transport, and we'll do the same thing over here. I'm actually gonna be sad to see this car go, because first of all, it is a very cool piece of history, and it's honestly a beautiful car, right? The fin tails are such a classic look, and I wouldn't hate having it around the shop, you know? I don't want it on my lift anymore, because I very much would like to work on some other cars, but I wouldn't mind this thing hanging around somewhere to just take it out for a drive. And it's not far from driving, I can tell you that. So I think you could throw $2,000 more at it and 100% have it driving. That would cover all the slave cylinders and a tank, and that's the easy route, right? Changing the tank's the easy route. The cheap route is just pumping fuel through it until you get all the varnish out. You could go either way, and then the only things that are going to be slightly hard are getting those two master cylinders sorted out. And even that isn't that bad. I did find, so if you've seen, as I walk around it, the mirror is not on the driver's side. That's actually how we found the car. The mirror was sitting right here. It looks like it just screws on, but it's just not in place. So we're going to maybe wrap that up in some bubble wrap and leave it right there. And then the steering wheel trim piece here falls off. And that's just how it was when we picked it up from the museum as well. Look at this, the windows just, oh, like butter. I mean, the doors shut perfectly. If you polish this thing out, it is a good looking car. So there you go. That is Lloyd Stearman's 1960 220S. So hit the link in the description below. Check out the Bring a Trailer listing. It's been up for a few days already, and hopefully we get some more action in there. Can't wait to see where it ends up, and if it's one of you, can't wait to hear what you guys do to it, and it'll be somebody else's family heirloom. This is definitely one of those cars you keep around forever. Huge thank you to my dad for helping us get these carbs done. It was a lot of work to get all of this going. Parts from Germany, carb cleaner that's banned by the EPA. We had a lot of hoops to jump through, but now we've got it back together, and the results speak for themselves here. That is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.watchjrgo.com for cool shirts, not like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time. If you guys remember when we first started this thing up, all that trash blew out of the exhaust pipes like the nests, and that is all we got this time. So much, 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 much better. And I should also note the diff is still dripping a little bit under there, and it will continue dripping. So expect that. Resealing the diff should be on your to-do list too, but apparently very common on W111s. We wanted to make sure we were fully transparent about anything this car might need for people that want to put it back on the road, or if you want to put it back in a museum, just polish it up, drain all the fluids out, and you'll be ready to rock again. And next time, if you get these fluids drained out pretty soon, you'll be good to go when you start it up 40 years from now.